The first thing we're going to need is a lot of aluminum connectors. The 3-lug and the 2-lug. So for each box, we're going to inspect the box and every single connection in it. Even the connections that look great, they're going to get redone. Just because they're not a problem now, they might be down the road. This connector here, this wire nut here, we take that off, and there is nothing wrong with that wiring. It looks perfect, but it could pose a problem at some point in time. I'm not sure if this was a aluminum specific wire nut, but the connection is a good one. The other connector didn't fare so well. So with the aluminum connectors, we're going to pigtail every single piece of aluminum wire with a piece of copper wire. So the aluminums, we'll put the aluminum wire into them and tighten those down. So the copper and the aluminum will never touch each other. So each connection will be individual. We won't have any more copper and aluminum connections. No more wire nuts of any kind, whether they're aluminum specific or the regular ones from your home center. If you use them, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. That's not going to work out. So with these connectors, we clamp down on the aluminum wire. And that makes a good connection for the aluminum. As if you'll notice in any electrical box, the aluminum wires they clamp down on those. They're not just in a connector. After we do this, the copper wire will make everything easier to maintain and replace. Because we'll be working with copper wires now, with some pretty good connections for the aluminum. So after we tuck these wires in here, we'll have 2 copper wires sticking out. Now this one is for a switch. The easiest ones to redo. Now we'll just put a regular switch in there that we get from our home center. It does not have to be aluminum specific. So we will replace every single plug, switch, or light in the whole entire place. And instead of using aluminum specific plugs and switches, we can use regular ones. So no one will go to the home center, buy the wrong switch, install it, and run into problems. Now of course at no time will we wire nut an aluminum and a copper wire together. Whether it's specifically an aluminum wire nut or a regular wire nut, we just won't do that. So definitely these aluminum connectors are how we're going to handle all this. I'm going to show you this. It's a aluminum connection, crimp, aluminum or a copper crimp connection on aluminum wire, and it held up fine. So I guess there was a good crimp there. Another thing we want to be careful about is eliminating loads on the aluminum wire. So in this kitchen, we will add plugs to the countertop to eliminate load so our wire does not heat up. This is for the refrigerator. Another big energy taker, we'll put a new plug in for that. Every light fixture, we will make sure there's no copper to aluminum connections with wire nuts. Another big connection, but we'll take care of that. So we will never put copper and aluminum together. That is just a regular wire nut. That's never going to happen. Can't do that. Never should do it. And we certainly won't. Another thing to keep in mind, 10 gauge copper wire gets a 20 amp breaker, so that's derated a little bit, and 12 gauge aluminum wire gets a 15 amp breaker. No more than that. Of course, our washer and dryer will be rewired with copper and will eliminate those large loads. Of course, when a light is put up, they use regular wire nuts and aluminum to copper connectors. Always have a lot of connectors on hand and have them available to use.